obviously in Mayo for the last couple of days, chatting to some of the most passionate fans and greatest footballers. Tomorrow, don't worry, we'll be live from Tyrone. If you miss anything from either show, you'll catch it back on the OTB AM podcast feed or on the Off the Ball YouTube channel. Here's John O'Mahony and Willie Joe Padden. Enjoy.
We talk about Tyrone in '89 then. It's obviously going to be quite prescient this week given the opposition. It is the bandage game, Willie Joe, for people who aren't familiar. What are your overall recollections of that game when you first think of that match with Tyrone?
Well, just before the game, everybody, Tyrone in particular, I think they just came down and said, well, we have to play Mayo. We're going to be in the final now. Now, they were in the All-Ireland final in '86 and they were beaten by Kerry. But in fairness, we had different ideas, and I remember them coming unfinished business was their T-shirt that they were wearing,
Right.
So and we knew that. So obviously, we had it well sussed out, and to us it was another game, and we had to get stuck into it, and we have a chance here of making the All-Ireland final. That's the way we seen it. We seen it as certainly we were in there with a 50-50 chance, where I think Tyrone maybe had underestimated us slightly. But as the game turned out, we just got stuck in, and I ended up with this bandage on my head. All right, I got a.
So what happened?
Well, I was running across the field for a ball, and one of the Tyrone lads was running out, and I went down to pick up the ball, and his knee just hit off my head, and I got up, nothing. Then I could feel the old blood coming down, so I was whisked out to the sideline, and Frank Davey put a couple of stitches in me, and I could hear John saying, "Get him back out, get him back out." Get him back out. Yeah. And Frank took out this wrap, wherever he got it, and a cap on top of that. So I ended up going out. I didn't know what was on my head actually going out, but I said, "Here goes. I got to go here."
Yeah. Where was your compassion, John?
It was it's one of the iconic pictures. I talked to Frank Davey actually yesterday about it. I think it was when we got over the hill and won the game. I think the fundraising started in earnest, and I think that same cap was auctioned about 20 times as the original, and I think there was a little bit more than Willie Joe's blood on it, but on the other ones. But it was I do remember this scene on the sideline. And poor old Frank, I was putting pressure on him because we didn't want to make a substitute or anything else. We wanted him back where we needed him, it worked out, and it was a moment that has been recollected, and I see the pictures in every preview whenever Mayo are there again. It's always there. So look at it. It's one of those memories, but it was the unfinished business thing that Willie Joe, it was a bit naive of them to, they were pictured on the paper with this unfinished business. So behind the four walls of the dressing room, I think it's safe to realise it now. Well, we're going to finish their business, rather than, in fairness, they had been 6 points up against Kerry in '86, and they got a penalty. And the penalty was sent over the bar. So if there'd have been 9 points up if it was a goal, it was 7 points up, but I think Kerry won it by 6 or 7 points in the end. Pat Spillane got a goal, but it was that, we felt that we were there to ambush them, and that was the thing. And that particular year in the Connacht Championship, we drew with Galway and beat them well in the replay. We had the famous it went to extra time, which was common in the replay above in Hyde Park, where we were. It was an amazing game, but the resilience of the team that day was brilliant, in the sense that we were 3 points down, I think, or 4 points down, and Roscommon got a penalty, 4 points ahead, and Roscommon got a penalty and put it in the net when it was 2 points actually, and
to go the point ahead.
To go a point ahead, and we had it rehearsed that the natural reaction in a game like that, if that happens, you put the heads down and you think. So we had it rehearsed. If this happens, Gabriel Irwin's to take a ball quickly out of the net and have it placed, and within seconds it was kicked out and it was down at the other end. And actually, I think Micheál Collins or someone had it in the net, but he called it back for a free 14-yard free drawing game. They went ahead again then, and Jimmy Burke got what we call the famous pushover try. He kind of hit it with his shoulder, and he was being touted for rugby league the next week. So in that sense, we had come through a lot of battles, and we knew that this game was going to be difficult. But Tyrone got a goal midway through the second half to go 2 points ahead. It was a very low-scoring game. There was no blanket defences, but it was low-scoring. Won, I think, 12 points to 1-6, and they got a goal to go a point ahead, and I think we got the 4 points. After that, we won 12 points. So there was no panic, and I think that was again something that was a benefit of our mental preparation. That if you panic about things, you're unlikely to solve them. Whereas if you keep calm and do something to solve them, you can, and that worked there, and nearly worked in the final, but didn't. You know,
the unfinished business thing clearly would motivate you as a player.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Like, I mean, the first thing you'd think of, well, is there any point of us going up here at all? If that's, you know, so, but then you'd redouble your resolve then, and certainly say, well, we're going to give it a right shot here. But we weren't underestimating ourselves, Brian, you know, because we knew we had a good side, and and we would have stood up at the best there, to be quite honest, and that's the way we felt, and that's the only way you can feel when you're going out playing in the final. You have to believe that you can win it, or a semi-final. You have to believe that you can win it, and it's no different to any game. So it just redoubled our efforts to make sure that we were going to win the game.
How did you play after the knock to the head?
Well, I think you have to ask John O that one.
We did fine. Every time he went near the ball, the stander upped it. The stander upped it, you know.
Maybe he's in. Maybe I should have left him on the sideline.
No fear.
Just one other thing I just wanted to ask you about that time in particular, John, is about your backroom team, because it's very interesting. Two names that pop up that perhaps some people forget were in your backroom team around that time were Tommy Gorman and Eddie O'Sullivan. Did you bring both of those in?
No, just to clarify, Tommy Gorman was with me in Mayo, in the sense that, like, it was like at that time. Nowadays, if you see in Croke Park, I mean, the Dublin backroom team, 25 or 30 people, and so on. We didn't have. I mean, I went to training in '89 with all the footballs and all the bollards in the boot, and there wasn't even there was no such thing as kit vans or anything else. So it was. I did first aid courses. I was strapping ankles, all that kind of. You were nearly, Charlie Collins, Christy O'Hare, Mick Higgins, and Shamey Daly. And Shamey was brilliant for me. He was really mentoring me as a manager, because he had trained the 1970 team that won the league, and he came in as a selector, and he was absolutely brilliant in the sense that he would have, as the man says, he was good with the county board and dealing with them and all of that. So it was a good backdrop. But we did have Tommy Gorman then was helping out with he used to do the previews of the game at that time for RT, and he said to me one day, if I can help or whatever. And it all started there really, and it got as the year he did it in when I was in Leitrim, and I did it in Galway. Eddie O'Sullivan wasn't it was in Galway. I was Eddie on board. Where effectively he used train in a gym, and I was trying to get, at that time, strength and conditioning was very important. He had the rugby background, but he had a lot of knowledge, and he came on board, and halfway through the year he was appointed coach of the USA rugby team. So he devised all the different training plans and all of that. So there was a lot of faxes flying between the west coast of America and during that season. So that's where but it was, in other words, you were getting people's expert advice, and I'd always have an open mind. This is about winning. It doesn't matter who gets and I'd say to the players as well, if we win, everyone is a winner in this dressing room. So it wasn't about egos or anything else. We were trying to get the unity of purpose there, and I'd be forever grateful for all the expert advice that I would have got from people, whether it was nutrition or food or whatever. We tried to lift the bar and to break the ceiling in every way we could. So all of that, and the diet sheets, and I don't know whether Willie Joe had them off by heart or not, but it was my wife Geraldine is a home economics teacher, so she had done a lot of stuff on the food side of things. So it was all a kind of a voluntary thing, so we did it. It was very enjoyable, and there was great fun in it at times, as we've alluded to, and that's what I'd hope, that fun is still there, but it's a serious business now,
What sort of recipes are we talking, Willie Joe, during that era?
It took me a while to get into the diet sheet, because hence I used to have to do the extra training down the Lack and Strand. So I said, maybe read those sheets, maybe I might have a better chance.
Well, there was a tradition at the time that I remember when I was training for Mayo, like as a player. You went down after training, you got a big steak before the championship and chips, and you were drinking Lucasade or Club Orange and Club Milks afterwards. And when I think back, I said, Jesus, we have to change this anyway. So probably when I introduced the salads and all this kind of thing, the boys thought, well, here's the county board cutting the budget.
The Kerry fellas are probably on big steaks down there now.
Yeah.
We're getting salads.
The lettuce coming out our ears here, but it was for a good reason.
A good reason and a good cause. Two Mayo legends there speaking with Owen. This Thursday morning at 11 minutes past 8. Very busy show between now and 10 o'clock. We're going to hear from Leon Maguire. We're going to hear from Ellen Keane. We're going to talk hurling with James Skell and the managerial merry-go-round, and particularly those rumours about Davy to Galway. Up next, though, Owen chats with Mayo legend Lee McHale.